Dude, that hour just flew by, man. That was a fantastic interview. Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Donating your time like that what a blast. That was a great. I knew it was going to be a good talk, but that was better than I
didn't think it'd go by that fast.
I didn't think it'd go by that fast either. I thought I'd try to keep them kind of short, like an hour, relatively speaking, to like a 3-hour podcast or something. But maybe I should start extending.
I don't normally reveal that many secrets either, but man, you got me talking, and I appreciate it, and I hope we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. I don't want to overdo it and like have people on too soon when they've been on already. But yeah. I mean, that was great, and thanks for sharing that stuff. I wish that I wish we had more people. I don't know where everybody was while we were sharing. There was a couple people in the chat I saw, but it seemed like we just had a couple people.
Yeah. I'll watch it after. It's fine.
I don't think we're fooling anybody. All right, guys. You guys like our little joke? That was Justin's idea. That's what type of stream this is going to be. It's going to be fun. Yeah. Well, without further ado, I'm going to give you guys my intro real quick, and we'll be right back with the actual start of the stream. Sorry for messing with you guys, but I thought it was fun. Oh, there I am. We did get one person down there. Interstellar Reptiles thought that you missed the stream. Nope, just kidding. Now we're really gonna get started. That was all Justin. So you guys want to get mad at somebody? Get mad at Justin. He's the one. Thanks for coming back on, man. I know I've had you on the channel a couple of times. First time live, of course. Glad to have you, dude. Glad you were able to make the time to be here with us tonight.
Yeah, man, it's awesome, and excited about it. It'll be a fun night.
So I'm gonna start off with. So I went back and watched a couple of the interviews I'd done with you already in the past to make sure I hadn't asked this question already or talked to you about this at all, because I feel like I had. I literally right before we started, I went back and watched a couple of them, and I was like, no, I never brought it up at all. But you have a marketing degree? Is that correct? I hope so, because I always tell people that.
That's right. Yeah. I went to school for marketing, and I didn't even know really what I wanted to do with it until my senior year or so. I started being all about the ball pythons. I was like, well, hey, I have this degree. Let me use it for what I love, which is the snakes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that that's a fact, because I talk to people. I thought I had talked with you about it before. When I went back and watched those streams, I was like, nope, never brought it up once. I'm going to pull up on the screen here. Everybody's going to get to see your very first video ever that you recorded. How old were you? Like 15 in this video?
Oh, fun. 14 or 15.
14 or 15. And there's no audio for everybody watching it right now, so we can just talk. But there's a link down in the description for that video for you guys that are seeing this and want to check this out. They haven't seen it on Justin's channel already. This is a video you put up on your 100th episode special, of course.
Right.
And this was the first video I watched of yours where I was like, I'd watched a few before, but when I saw this one, I was like, this guy is, I love this guy. You got like scorpions in there. You guys are being super goofy and it brought me to my first real question, which is in that video you mentioned one of the reasons you really like one of the reasons that you like keeping reptiles and stuff like that is that it's kind of different and not a bunch of people are, it's like not like cats or dogs. There's not a lot of people doing it. So my question for you is how do you feel about reptiles becoming a bit more of a mainstream thing? Not that they're super mainstream, but they're becoming more and more popular every day, as you know. And how do you feel about that?
I think it's a positive thing. Certainly, the more people that are involved in our hobby, that's a lot less wild snakes that are going to be killed by people, if nothing else, if they understand reptiles a bit. So I think it's good, and especially for those of us who are in the hobby as a business, certainly the more the merrier. We like to have more and more people involved, keep growing the tent of reptile people. It's pretty awesome to see. It's transformed a lot over the years. It's been really good.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that your parents wouldn't let you keep any snakes, but then now it's all snakes.
Yeah.
Dude, you got that? What are you doing?
You have to react to your parents by rebelling.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think most of us know how that kind of works. You got any plans? I know you got those Bullen's pythons over there. You got any plans with those things?
Yeah. I kind of got them on a whim. I've always liked them and everything. Then one day, Nerd just, put a post on Facebook and said he's got a few. And I was like, hey, this is it. I'm gonna grab one when I can. Um, I mean, I'd like to breed them someday, but I don't know the first thing about it, to be honest with you. I'm just enjoying keeping them alive, and I take them out and show them to people. Everybody's like majorly impressed with them. It's like pretty much the best show off snake we have, or just a crazy cool snake python. So, I'll grow them up and try to reevaluate, but of course I'd love to produce them down the road. But I have to do some research on that. But they're such good animals. They've been really, really great to keep. They've been so easy to take care of, and they're really cool to take out, and they're chill, and they're awesome.
Yeah, they're kind of like some weird mix between I don't know, a carpet python and retic, plus like the
Yeah.
docile nature of a ball python almost, or an Angolan python or something. Would you say?
I don't, they've never tried to bite me except for like when they think that I'm food, but there's never a defensive bite from them, ever. But I don't know, like, I don't know what um, they seem really smart, like a retic to me. Like they seem like they're always evaluating the situation, and they don't just react to things. They tend to just like are scoping it out, and that's cool because you don't get that with the ball python. Ball python's all reaction. You just know how to deal with them after a while, but whatever you do, they just react to it. So
Yeah,
very different than
I've got
that.
super little experience handle. I held one of Nerd's Bullens there at the last Tinley, but that was my only personal interaction with the Bullens before. So do they not like react when you like kind of boop them on the snoot type of thing? Or?
Mine don't. They just take it. They just like sit there. You mean it's kind of unnerving almost. They're very, very chill, and they don't seem to react to what you do. And they have these big old heads. I remember like bulldog heads. The head seems almost oversized for their body, which makes them seem just a lot more legit. They're like serious snakes. It's really cool.
Nice, man. That is cool. It's almost like they have a confidence or something compared to a lot of other species.
I guess, yeah, I guess. And they were really easy to deal with as far as feeding and everything goes. We started them out on rodents that we got a quail. We rubbed the rodents on the quail for the first 7 or 8 times, and then they took right off. They were so easy, so easy to deal with.
Cool, man. I'm jealous of those things that I would love to. That's one of the species I don't have here that, and I try not to get too crazy with getting a bunch of different species. I definitely have delved as far as you could with all the different species that are out there, but Bullens that's high up on the list, man. They're just not easy to come by, super cool, like you said, and yeah, mind blowing stuff. I need to come out to your facility sometime, man. I've been threatening this for
Yeah.
a while now, but I need to get out there one of these times. I'm hoping maybe this year. I need to get a snake from you too. Still, there's been a couple that I've inquired about, and then like they're either not available, or I was way too slow on the draw, or I know I asked you about one of those triple heads. I know
It's
you're going to be
hard.
producing. And I know that you're maybe not going to
Yeah.
let it go anyway, but um, I still
Yeah, we just hatched some. Message me, remind me which ones you're looking for exactly.
okay.
Um, we just hatched some though. But this time of year it's tough because I love making people happy by getting them the snake they want. But I make a lot more people unhappy than I make happy because I just don't have the numbers, and there's always more inquiries, and I always have to turn down or disappoint X number of people. And it's really that's the downside to making stuff that just not very many people have, is that you end up disappointing a lot of people, and they always feel like you're playing favorites or whatever. And true or not, you end up with a bunch of people feeling like a little iffy about you at the end of the day.
Do you are you saying that I made you disappear? I didn't mean to do that. Are you saying that you don't play favorites whatsoever? No favoritism ever?
Yeah, I do. No, I totally do. But it's
Okay.
not what people think. People assume that I will always give the snake to the guy who spent the most money, right? Or some people say or allege that I only give snakes to people who aren't going to use the snake to compete with me. So if they have a bad collection that, or a collection that's lower, then I'll sell it to them first so that my competition doesn't go up or whatever. The
Yeah.
reality is I do choose clients, but it's based on the kind of the standard business stuff. Is it somebody who is easy to deal with, that's real nice, that is is it somebody who's going to when they get it, they're going to say something nice about me on the internet afterwards. Is it good marketing and long term? Is somebody who's going to use the project to make cool stuff that will increase the project long term? Those are the things that help me choose clients. Are they going to pay? Or are they going to try to do a 6-month payment plan? That's obviously a big part of it. Those sort of things. That's how I choose my clients for the most part. And it's just the standard business rules that any business would use when they have a limited supply and large demand of something.
It's a good place to be in business. You want to have less supply than demand. I think to a point, of course, but I think definitely a better place to be in than have all this stuff that nobody wants.
Yeah. Compared to that, yes.
Speaking of pricing stuff and having new stuff that people want, how do you go about deciding what to price? Like, say you make a combo that's just not even close to ever having been made anywhere else. Like when you made the Pompeii, for example, not that you were selling it when you made it, but something like that. Like if you produce something like that, how do you decide what the price point is going to be? What's your process for figuring something like that out for a snake that nobody has a price for yet?
Right. My process is extremely unscientific. It's extremely unscientific. All it is I ask myself, what would I pay for this snake if I was buying it? That's right. That's really, I look at the market if it's something that's already out there. But if it's not out there, I think if I was out there looking for this snake and I know about the potential of the gene, I know what's coming, and I know the market, I know the competition, what price, at the end of the day, could I take home and feel like, hey, that was really, really fair. I don't want to overcharge. Sometimes, like for example, I'll do a video and people will be going after a certain gene because they saw something cool that was made. That's really normal. I never jack up my prices because of that. I may raise them over time if demand stays strong, but I'm not going to just do that because I wouldn't want to pay that extra price just because some cool snake was made. I try to keep things reasonable. And then I don't even worry about pricing something that's not for sale. You spend a lot of time racking your brain about something that's never going to be sold in the short term, at least. It's value on the shelf. Don't worry about the price. Yeah.
Well, speaking of spending money on snakes, how do you decide what projects you're going to get into? Do you ever buy a snake that's less than $1,000, for example? I mean,
yeah, actually, yeah. Not so much lately, but definitely along the way in the past few years, you find a lot of little gems out there, whether it's just, a special snake that has some genetic that you want that fits right in, but it's not necessarily expensive. Or it's maybe an overlooked, undervalued gene, like red stripe was a few years ago, or spot nose or chocolate, or any of the ones that are now, they're not raising in value a lot, but they're raising in demand. People are seeing the value in using them. So it's I buy a lot of stuff that I see out there. I think, oh, that's a special thing, and it fits in. It doesn't have to be expensive. Now, on the other hand, I'm always also looking for the one that is really special, that's going to completely, change what I'm doing and go a different direction, something really cool like that. And that's going to be pricey if it can be found. A lot of times those people don't want to sell, and I don't give them too hard a time because I wouldn't want to sell, and I'm not going to beat them up over not doing something I wouldn't do. So, but
yeah, there was that time that you were almost going to get a snake off me, and that was kind of a big moment for me. Hey, my opinion of you is that you are the best ball python breeder currently in the world. That's and that's for a couple of reasons. I've told you this before. It's not something you're hearing new, but it hasn't changed. And there's a couple different reasons though. One of them is that you do produce some of the most amazing snakes out there. You do a really good job at creating excitement around them. And clown is also my favorite gene, of course. That gives you a big step up with the different clown projects you have in particular. In fact, when you start, I'll be honest, when I'm watching your videos and you're showing the clown stuff and then the pie stuff comes up, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I'm done with the video. But that on top of how willing you are to share the information of how you achieved that level. Like a lot of the videos I watched yours in the past, like the 101 videos and stuff, and your blog that you would put out, just your willingness to share information to help other people get to the level of success you achieved. Just that whole combo of things, those three things, like they make you what I consider to be the best ball python breeder in the world today.
I appreciate that. I feel like in the end, it's so important to these are such cool animals. You can't keep them to yourself. You know, this is a sharing hobby, not a hoarding hobby. And so whether it be just information about how to be successful at it, or it's just sharing how cool the snakes are that gets everybody more excited, which, you know, like my Ozzy's told me, he's a great guy. He's saying, you know, rising tide, you know, lifts all boats, which I know he didn't come up with that statement, but it's a great statement for us, you know, when people share their excitement about cool animals and are willing to share, then, you know, we all get a boost from it, you know? And the other thing is I learned early on is I was not going to be a long-term ball python breeder if I did not have some success in the beginning, right? People get out all the time because they don't experience some level of success early on. And so for me and my clients, anything I can do that's going to make their goals come true, whether it be just hatch a certain snake or whether it be to make a certain amount of income or at least pay for their hobby, whatever their goal is, whatever I can do to help them achieve that is only going to make them stay in the industry, you know, and continue to spread the not just the financial side, but the excitement and enjoyment of the snakes. And so it's just like this huge snowball. And I feel like it's still going in our industry. It's getting bigger and bigger. And we all benefit. We definitely all benefit from that.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that, man. Do you have any, well, aside also, okay, here's the fourth thing that I like. When you start, you include your family from time to time. I know you had your boy on there one time, and then I love it when your sister comes into the videos and adds her level of humor. Like that's great. And having got to meet some of your family, some of the shows, it's obviously come from a strong family vibe, and I can appreciate that as well. And just that's the other thing. It's just like icing on the cake for me. Do you have any new projects that you have working behind there? I know we tease people at the beginning with these things you never said. Do you have anything like that you can share here, or is it all a secret?
Yeah, no. I always share. The thing is that people always assume there's secrets, but I always share whenever I'm asked exactly what I think the next big thing is, what I'm working on. So for this year, you know, we're not really hatched out, so it's hard for me to anticipate where the big leaps and improvements will be. But this year, I'm really working on the redhead gene and the clown. Redhead gene is pretty new, and it's not related to the red stripe, although apparently I like morphs of the word red in it. But it's a really cool gene, and we've got into the clown. We've made some really cool stuff, and we'll probably be doing a reveal about that, you know, later on in the fall, maybe in place of Tinley if the timing works out right. And the lace is something I'm heavily invested in. The special clown. Kind of every project, every recessive project has this like area that I'm trying to like work into a little bit, and figure out, you know, a different wrinkle in it and try to make it different in some way.
Cool. Well, you didn't give any of the ingredients for it. Well, no, you did. Redhead.
Yeah, the redhead. Get a redhead now before October if you want to get the pre-video, you know, pricing or whatever, or you want to get one before the demand goes up. I think it's really cool. I mean, I'd do it if I was.
All right. Well, that is some big, thanks, man. That is some kind of big inside information. We got folks in the chat. You guys hear that right now? The redhead, the same thing is going to happen like it did with a red stripe. That's what you're saying. Yeah. All of a sudden you're not gonna be able to find them once the combos come out.
They'll go quick. There's not that many out there, but it's a really cool gene. And I think the potential of it is still unknown. That's the best part of it. I think it'll show some cool stuff and people will see the potential, but there's most of it is just still out there and kind of to figure out. Now I see the chat here. G-stripe is definitely coming back, in my opinion. And my interest level in G-stripe is just skyrocketing right now. You know, I was able to pick up a G-stripe enhancer clown, so a triple recessive male. It is the coolest thing, and all these G-stripe clowns that people are making is just wicked cool. Ozzy's made some, and Garrick just made some, I think. I think that's kind of like the new kid on the block for a double recessive that people should be thinking about.
That was Kevin Bluefort, yeah, had the Kiki ball. He called it when he
the
first...
Kiki ball.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up. Give him a shout out. He established that project and really got some legs under it. And then we've just seen it kind of really start to really get a lot of momentum lately. And he's in a great position on that project.
He's a great guy too. I got to talk to him at Tinley for a bit. He's a
Yeah, he's cool.
super nice guy, man. Uh,
Yeah,
geez,
Ninja Ball Reptiles. So
yeah,
check him
Ninja
out.
Ball, exactly. Yeah, he named it after his daughter.
Yeah,
That was that's
the
awesome,
Kiki
man.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kiki.
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Chat. Well, speaking of chat, if anybody wants to throw a question out there right now you got a couple right there.
Yeah,
Joseph
see a
Eckert
few.
is wondering what your take on the trick gene is, and if you've ever worked with it.
Yeah. I have a few. I just actually hatched the clutch today with some Trojan trick jungle womas. And that's most people haven't heard of the jungle woman much, but the Trojan, of course, is a really cool orange morph, really, pretty new. I think there's a lot of potential behind that in the future. Trick goes really well with that. Trick is really cool. So, a lot of people were thinking Trick and Hurricane were similar, but I don't know. The more tricks I hatch out, the more I feel like they're just not. They don't make the same stuff. And I'm not saying that one's way better than the other. I think that you can do different things with them.
Yeah, that is interesting. I was watching I produced a video for Jesse last week, I think it was, where he's talking about that exact thing. Like he had his opinion that Blitz, Trick, and Hurricane were just another Coral Glow banana or lesser, butter thing. And so you're thinking maybe not on your side. It's possible, but no definitive.
I just keep making these tricks from these last few clutches, and they look so different than any of the Hurricanes I've ever made. Like really different. And sometimes you don't know. You get into a little corner, and you might be just I don't know, just variation or whatever. But I feel like they're pretty different, and in a good way. Like there's a lot of stuff that you could do with Trick that looks significantly different. I'll show the ones I made here, fairly soon. But I think there's in a lot of ways we just don't know, and we're never going to know. It's impossible, really, almost to prove them to be the same. If you think about it.
Yeah, I guess it would.
You have to breed a Trojan to you have to breed a Trick to a Hurricane, right? You'd make something that is different enough to look like a super, right? Then you would grow that up, breed it to a normal, right? And then if the offspring if there was no normals in any of the offspring, you probably have to try more than once too to take out the chance of odds and everything. If there's no normals in the offspring, then you'd at least know they're allelic, right? But even if they're allelic, doesn't mean they're the same.
True.
So you have to go many steps down the road in order to actually prove it one way or the other. In my mind, I don't know if there's any point in doing that.
What would be interesting is to be able to figure it out scientifically. There's a guy you may have heard of, Ben Morrill.
That would be interesting.
Ben Morrill over there, and I believe he's based in Florida. He's doing these different genetic tests for people that are trying to sex different venomous snakes or green trees or corn snakes and do genetic sex testing that way. But also he's been working down the road of potentially being able to test for genetics in ball pythons. I know that's one of his goals, at least. I know that's a long road to get down to such a polymorphic species. There's always new things popping up, but to be able to, that's something that's always kind of excited me, is like the ability to potentially do that somewhere down the road and see if you can just map it out and be like, this snake has it. No what's het for het. Would take some of the fun out of it too, if you can just test for het instead of having to prove it out over the course of a few years. But be one way to know for sure.
I'm not sure if I'd be happy with that long term.
I wouldn't think you would either.
I like the suspense. I like the suspense of it, and then the moment. It's like a lottery card. You scratch it off and you find out if you're a winner. I guess you could wait for the letter in the mail to say you're a winner or not, but I'd rather just find out.
Yeah, I wouldn't think with somebody of your level of patience with these projects that you'd be too excited to just be able to find out right away without even proving it through breeding. That makes sense.
I don't know. I've done it long enough. It would feel like a cop out.
I was just talking to some folks last night, and this has been a thing going around for a bit with the possibility of Enchi and black pastel and cinnamon being allelic, or Enchi and cinnamon in particular, but obviously black pastel would be included. What are your thoughts on that?
In my mind, that's not really a question. To me, it's there's plenty of evidence that is the case, that they're allelic. I haven't seen. There's a few people who will claim that, we have this snake that, proves that it's, we have a super Enchi. You'd have to have a super Enchi cinnamon or a super Enchi black pastel in order to prove they're not allelic. And they always, say, well, this is the proof. And then they put the snake out there. I'm like, I just don't think you're IDing that snake right. That's what it always comes down to, is the proof supposedly is, in my opinion, mis-ID'd. And I've personally hatched probably 5, 6, 7 clutches at least from a cinnamon Enchi, and then not gotten normals or a cinnamon Enchi from those pairings. So in my mind, obviously you can never prove it without, again, the genetic testing. But every time you do another clutch and don't get it, the odds of it go lower and lower and lower of it not being allelic.
But if you produce like 20 clutches from the same male to a normal, and they were all cinnamons and Enchis, that would be,
you got to know astronomically unlikely, right, at that point.
It's interesting because my most recent clutch with the Sunset is Enchi cinnamon. I've done this pairing. This is my 3rd year doing that pairing, and they both, I don't know if it's just these parents or whatever, but I always get Enchis and cinnamons. Like the majority of the clutch was Enchi cinnamons. This has nothing to do with being allelic. It's just something interesting that so many snakes. I got 1 normal out of 9 snakes and like 5 Enchi cinnamons. And of the 3 years I've been doing this pairing, I have not hatched a single normal Sunset. They've all either been Enchi or cinnamon or Enchi cinnamon Sunsets. I've never hatched just a normal Sunset with this pairing.
Really?
Yeah, it's just interesting to me how.
Are you breeding an Enchi? You're not breeding an Enchi cinnamon to make those. You're breeding Enchi 2 cinnamon, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but if it wasn't Enchi cinnamon, that would be.
I have my own little theories about different odds on different morphs. Like how sometimes, like I always end up getting great odds on anything that's lavender albino. I don't know why, but I'm always, if you do visual to head, you should get half lavenders, half heads. If I went back and looked at all my collections, I'm way, way above that number, and it's been a lot of eggs. But it's just, to me, it's just, I don't know what to think of that. And mathematically, it shouldn't be that way. So,
what do you think about cypress and spider? Jesse was looking at a snake that they hash out over there, and I don't think there's been breeding proof at all. But have you seen anything with cypress and spider and the potential for allelicness there, or spot nose and spider?
Yeah. So I know that there's a lot of stuff that seems like in the same complex there. Whether it be, like blackhead, champagne, hinging woma, spot nose, spider. Oh, it seems like there's one more that I'm forgetting, but that's 5. That's 5 that seem like they're either allelic or at least they cause some sort of problem when you put them together. We obviously know a super spider pretty much won't survive out of the egg. They have real problems. Hinging woma spider, same thing. But if you do like a champagne spider, same problem. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we're kind of seeing how we don't have the real ability to test them because we can't even grow them up, as far as being allelic. But we know blackhead and spider are allelic, and we know spot nose and spider spin when you put them together. They have a wobble and everything. So I was going off the theory that spot nose and spider are allelic as well, but then that would make, sorry, I'm maybe going too deep in here, but that would also make blackhead and spot nose allelic if that was the case. And then I just had a clutch that proved it not allelic. So I don't know. And there's a lot of different things that are kind of swirling around that complex that all seem to be, pretty much intertwined with each other in some way. We'll find out long term what that is.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird stuff. There's so much to learn. That's what keeps it so exciting, is there's so much that is unknown with this. Just a crazy amount of things that are unknown, and there's always something new to learn, which just helps make this so much more exciting than just how snakes are themselves. Like, I get this urge. I went out yesterday with the kids and like trying to find a snake. I'm surrounded by snakes, and yet in my free time, I'm like, let's go out and see if we can find some snakes. It's like, and the fact that you got all this new unknown stuff with morphs and all this, it just makes it this endless world of possibilities. It is just so exciting.
Right.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's more fun to find snakes in the wild than it is to find them in your own snake room.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, unless you don't know
where
they're
at in the wild.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. Okay.
Hopefully, you know where they're all at in your snake room.
Yeah, hopefully.
We got a super chat thing here. We had a big super chat from Nick too. Of course, Nick, Renowned Reptiles. He's your buddy over there. You guys are working the sack show together. uh,
What do we got?
CH Reptiles. Was curious if you would share, if you would, did you sell or hold back the
Did I hold
hurricane?
that girl back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I held her back in the end. She ended up getting to like 1,100 grams, and she was still listed on Morph Market. I was like, can't do it. Can't do it. I got to keep her.
So as soon as it breaks like that 1,000 gram wall and it's up there, you just pull it back. Is that like kind of an automatic thing? You just automatically
If I
pull it
re-
back?
if no, if I think about it, sometimes I don't think about it for a long time, and then I'll look at a snake, and or a customer will say, "Hey, how much does that snake weigh?" And I'll go in there and I'll put it on the scale. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this should not be on Morph Market right now." Because I'll lose touch with how fast it's growing or something, and there comes a point where even if you get exactly what you're asking for, you regret selling it, and she was definitely at that point. So.
Makes sense. Yeah, some stuff just takes off. Shows. So the St. Louis show is this weekend. You're not going, right? I think I would have known if you're going or not.
I signed up, but we ended up having a family event be scheduled for the same weekend, so I'll be here.
Gotcha.
So we'll
Do
be making
you
it this time.
have plans to attend any shows? Like if October Tinley is happening, it sounded like you were leaning towards going if it does happen, or
I was going to be there if it was going to happen. Yeah, unfortunately.
oh right, but
But
it's
I'm
not.
still planning on doing Arlington. It's not
Okay.
going. Yeah, it's not happening now. But I'm going to do Arlington in September, barring some change. If the show goes on, I expect to be there.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's not too weird. I've not been to a show since all this hit, and man,
That's
I want some normalcy back in my life. I want to go and shake hands and pump fists and
yeah.
go
Yeah.
back to
Well, that's
the old.
the weird part. Like, are we gonna be weird about shaking hands and pumping fists? Like, I want to go to a
Yeah,
show so bad. I also don't want to be like I have no problem wearing a mask. Like I go in stores, like, it's not a problem for me. I'm not like, oh, this is weird. I have to wear it. Well, this is a
right,
little weird, but it's not like I have a problem. I
right,
don't have some kind of like personal problem with it. I just don't want it to be some weird thing where we're like, do we touch each other? Do we come within this distance? And I know there's all this thoughts about. I don't want to get into all that, but to your point,
right,
I don't want to go and be weird. I just want to go and have a normal time.
right. Well, I've already had COVID, so thankfully, so I've knocked it out,
Oh, have you?
I can go in at least knowing, yeah, yeah, knowing that I'm not going to get it again. Hopefully, I mean, I hear you maybe recontract, but I don't think so.
Wow. Wow. How was it for you?
Yeah.
Was it over pretty quick or was it hard or?
It was a full like 18 days,
Ooh.
but it was long lasting, but it was. I mean, I actually went to the hospital for one evening where it got real bad in the middle, but they basically made me comfortable, sent me home, quarantined from my family, and another 8 days of just being miserable, but not life threatening. So got through it.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you pulled through it. Well, Garrett jumped in the chat. He said
Yeah.
he would hug us all if we needed to feel normal. And
So this is a cool idea. I don't know if I run it by Brian, but so my church started doing this thing where so because here in Georgia, they're allowing, churches to get together at least,
oh,
to
cool.
a certain extent where we like to, well, to live dangerously here in Georgia. So we walk into the church though, and they have this thing where you put a little sticker on green, yellow, or red based on your level of comfort with other people, like being huggy with you or whatever, So red means, just like, hey, just, I take this very seriously. Yellow means, don't go overboard. Green's like, just act normal, So at least you don't have that awkwardness with people. Like, you don't know what what to expect. You don't know what, how that, it's kind of a good idea. I think it
That is
works
a
for us.
wonderful idea. I love that.
Yeah.
We should just
Yeah. So you just
make that like
see the color.
worldwide. Everyone red, gold, and green. I'd be okay with it.
Right. Yeah,
I don't want I don't want people
for
to start
sure.
beating other people up in the streets because how could you be green? All the green people are going to start getting mugged.
Well, that's the nature of the world we live in right now, isn't it? How dare
kind,
you? How
kind of.
dare you wear that color?
Yeah, it's not the world I live in, that's for sure. But it seems like there's at least what they portray
Yeah.
on TV and in the media. It seems like that's what it is. When I go outside here,
Yeah.
man, I'll tell you, it
Exactly.
seems like normal life
Same.
out there in this part of California, which is great.
Yeah. Same here. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But I don't like L. I personally, I've lived in LA. I'm not an LA guy. I've lived there a couple times. It's not where I like to spend the most of my time. Sorry, LA folks, but it's too crowded down there for me, man. Too crowded. Let's see if we get a couple more things from the chat. Oh, color codes for Arlington. Well, Alyssa, Alyssa over at Full Throttle Reptiles. She's been to your place.
Yeah.
She jumped ahead of.
I saw she just got COVID too. Good for you. Get to knock it out. Get it.
I've been telling people like I'm willing to wrestle with it. Luckily, I'm in a position where I'm not worried about it. I'm a fairly healthy guy.
Right.
I would be willing to rumble and tumble and just have a big hug with the COVID fest and give it. It would be nice if it was like chickenpox like that. I guess they don't know yet if you just get it and it's gone.
From my understanding, it is that way, but there's been a couple people, like, I'm sure it's really rare, but it's possible to get it again. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't
Who
do
knows, man?
I don't know. Not me.
Changing.
Garrett wants to know if you've been spending some time with getting to spend much time with the Kalatoa over there. Your super dwarf.
Actually, a lot more recently. Yeah, she's really cool. Really, really cool. Been pulling around and just like handling her more, and it's such a neat thing to see a miniature version of a retic. Super cool.
Yeah, we wouldn't be a chat with Garrett if you didn't bring up super dwarves. And,
yeah, I could see doing more with them in the future. Like I could.
Cool. Do you have any plans to do any projects with anything other than? I mean, I know you mentioned with the Bullens and then now with the super dwarves a little bit, but do you have any like solid plans to? Or do you that I don't know of produce other species than ball pythons that you work into your business?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's not because I'm not interested in them, but I really feel like that for me, I have to specialize. It's so important. If you're going to be the best at something, you have to really specialize. You have to give full, complete attention to one thing. And that's why it wasn't even to this new building. Where I even got really other species, and I consider them pets. Doesn't mean I won't breed them someday, but I don't see them making them a financial portion of what I do. So for me, I feel like I want to I'll focus on what I'm really good at, what I enjoy, which is ball pythons, and then I enjoy the other snakes for fun.
Some literal pet projects too.
Right. Yeah, and I don't have any thought on them necessarily for profit. Just enjoy.
Makes sense. I can dig that. Elijah Snyder's super chat. Future plans for black axanthic?
Yeah, actually, I had a really, really heartbreaking clutch of those today. We had like a leopard blackhead Mojave black axanthic. It's gorgeous, and it just the whole clutch is really a problem. Like I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with black axanthics, but that particular clutch had some issues where that baby died in the egg, and then another one had a kink, and I don't know. I think it's the mom on that clutch. She was just a little squirrely, and she laid in like half slugs, and so I'm kind of got a setback on that project this year. We have some more double het desert ghost black axanthics. We're pushing that. We're going to start making a lot of those hopefully down the road a little bit. And I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I want to make another one of these snakes that we got to see it, and it's heartbreaking to lose it. So you got to try again next year.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I'm sorry to hear that. That's never a good thing. Yeah. Definitely part of it, but not fun, especially with it's a bummer. Black axanthic, is that? I should know this. Is that does Freedom Breeder approve out the black axanthic?
It started with VPI.
It started with VPI. Okay.
Then Freedom Breeder does have them. Freedom Breeder does have them. They got a couple from me, and then they got a couple, I think maybe from VPI, and they've done some work with them. I know. Yeah.
That's a good question I should ask. That Jesse would probably smack me in the head when I see him tomorrow if I didn't ask. Why did you decide to go with Freedom Breeder racks in your facility. Like you could basically have whatever you want. That they're on the other side of the country. It's more expensive to ship to you. They're more expensive
Yeah.
overall. Like what?
That sounds like a sponsor question right
Well,
there.
we are sponsored by Freedom Breeder. It's true. You know that we've been there at the facility together, hanging out, crazy
Am I
stuff.
contractually obligated to say how much I love
You are
them?
contractually
No.
obligated to say whatever you want.
There you go. All right. So my honest opinion is I really, so I was an ARS guy from the beginning, and I still think they make a great product, and they actually make a very well priced product, especially for someone who's wanting to go like a pro rack. ARS is a great option. But I had a room full of ARS racks. It was the older style. They were starting to degrade a little bit over time. I'm sure it's much better now. And I was looking for a change, and I think actually Jesse called me up and was like, "Hey, we have this, we'd like you to try our racks. If we send you one, will you try it out? I don't remember if I paid for it or if he just sent it to me, or
I'd be super surprised if you didn't pay for it.
Yeah, I think I did. I think he said, "Well, hey, we want you to try it out. If you buy one, we'll give you 10% off, and we'll send you a couple levels of another level size, or what." I think it's something like that. So anyhow, I got them in, and I put a couple snakes in there, and the snakes just really liked it. And it was a combination. It was those 50-40 tubs. Those 50-40 tubs are magic for ball pythons. Honestly, they really are. They're so versatile. You can put a 500-gram ball python in there all the way up to almost 3,000 grams. You can females laying in them because they're so long and it's so dark at the back, and they're so snug. It's like a hide built in without an actual hide. So anyhow, I fill up a racket full of snakes, and they just ate great, and they did so great. And I remember I had bred a couple of girls in there, and we had really good results in that rack. And I thought, what would it cost to replace every rack in the facility, and how many extra clutches would it take to pay for it?
Oh,
sorry for saying. So
we lost you for a second. You're back.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking, how many racks? How much would it cost to replace all these racks? And would the increased eating and everything, would it pay for it in a year? And I did the math. I was like, it's a no-brainer. So we ended up replacing every single rack. They were the old ones were aging a little bit, and the snakes did fantastic, and they still do fantastic. I love them. I really enjoy them. I like how replaceable the tops are. How you can just pull them out and clean them really good, and that's always a weak point in rack systems. It's cleaning the tops. People think a lot about the tubs, but the top can get really nasty over time, and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, that's true. Every time a snake sheds is when I'll pull the top off and give it a good wipe down. And
oh wow, that's more often than I even do. That's great. Yeah.
It's probably more often than you need to, but it does give you that chance, because especially when a snake's shedding I see them having their most violent and wall poop painting moments. So it seems like the time when it's most likely to get on the ceiling of the tub.
Combine those two a lot, the shed and the defecation. Yeah.
Dude, I once had a snake. This is the only time this has ever happened. And when it happened, I was like, ooh, I hope this happens a lot. But it was the only time it ever happened. The snake shed and poop, and it like rolled the way it pooped. It pooped as it was shedding, so that the poop was inside of the shed in a nice little package I could just pick up and take out. And I was like, ooh, I hope that happens all. But it's literally the only time it ever happened. It was like, oh, got my hopes up.
It's like those little diaper pails you have for your kids, for your kids' diapers, like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. I do still have one of those. We're almost out of that. How many kids do you have now, Merle?
Good for you. We have 5.
Okay,
we have 5. And the youngest is 2, so he's still in that stage.
Yeah, our daughter, our youngest, she's potty trained already. We still put a pull up on her at night just in case, but she kind of is almost done there. It'll be a happy and sad day when I say goodbye to that diaper genie. I'll be like, oh, this is nice, but oh man, it's over.
Yeah, I think mostly happy. Mostly happy.
Yeah, mostly. We'll go mostly happy. California kids. You're a California kid.
Yeah.
At heart.
Yeah. Yeah, I love California. I'm just glad I don't have to live there and pay the prices. But and I every time I go out there, I'm always like, smell the air, man. It just takes me back to when I was a kid. I love it.
Do you ever see this is probably a no-brainer question, but especially with everybody leaving California, do you ever see yourself moving
Yeah.
back here to live ever?
I don't know. Being that I essentially run an internet business, like where I can do it from anywhere, it makes sense to live in a place with low cost of living.
Sure. And but Georgia, that area of
Because
Georgia you're
the
in,
same amount of income goes further here.
that's
Yeah,
that's
it's a nice
totally
area here.
yeah, that's a good point. How far are you guys from the ocean out there?
Oh, we're a long ways. We're like 5 hours from the ocean.
Okay, okay.
We're in
So
northeast Georgia, just a little north of Atlanta, but it's really pretty because we have the mountains. We're in the foothills of the Appalachians. So it's gorgeous. It's really really nice.
yeah, I remember some of those drone shots you put when you guys were first building the new facility. I remember there was a couple shots that almost looked
Yeah,
like the higher elevations of Hawaii. Kind of, I was like, wow, that looks like Mauka
yeah,
side Princeville or something. It was mind blown. I was like, that's gorgeous.
yeah. We love it.
Let me come out there and take my own drone shots. We got a good question here
Yeah.
from one of our moderators and good buddies and pals, Martial Law Morphs. He's wondering how many of your kids willingly help with the snakes.
So that's recently changed, actually. So my oldest daughter, she's the one who probably cares for animals the most. And she has an inquiring mind, kind of like me, and I can see a lot of myself in her. So she's always been the one who took the most interest in everything. But suddenly, my 12-year-old son, my oldest son, has suddenly like been all about it. So, and that's been really cool to kind of share with him. And he's more he likes the animals, but he's more like on the odds and like what are we gonna get and like setting up his babies and like he likes the kind of the hands-on part of it a lot, and the work side of it. So hey, that's great. I've really enjoyed sharing that with him. Most of the other kids are like, it's too normal. It's just what dad does.
I feel that a little bit with my kids. I feel bad. My daughter, she's so into it. She still is. She still comes down and helps me out, but I've allowed her to get bit a couple of times, and she's still kind of.
Oh
I mean,
wow.
she's only 2, but she's tough. She's a tough little girl. And she skinned her knees this morning, and she gets up and she wipes them. And, I'm tough. I'm tough. I'm like, oh yeah, yes so, but. I hope that I'm not deterring her too much by letting her learn the hard way how it is to handle some of these snakes. But she still
It'd be good
does.
for her.
She still wants to come down. Like she still requests like, "Daddy, snake room, snake room, snake room, Daddy." Yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun
That's
to watch your
awesome.
kids. Like just get to relive all those moments with them. Like all these things you forgot that you went through as a kid. And like, oh yeah, I
Mhm.
remember that. That was awesome. Or that sucked.
That's really cool.
Yeah, man. I need to come out and check you out in your facility sometime, man. It's been too long.
Yeah.
Are you having people out at the facility right now, or is it kind of locked down?
We've
Or
slowed it down since COVID. We slowed it down, but here and there, um, we try to. We can use it as an excuse when we don't want someone to come. That's kind of nice. But so sorry, man. We're closed for COVID now. But no, we do try to slow it down a little bit for that. But we've had some people by. Yeah,
that makes sense. Well, I'll wait till it's over so I don't get my feelings hurt. And then
there you go.
Jesse's been threatening to want to go travel too. Jesse's like, we got to go out and like go around, do some freedom breeder videos at different facilities, especially that have a lot of
Yeah.
the racks and stuff. And I was like, yeah, man, let's go. And then this all happened. It was like, well, I guess we're not going anywhere too soon, but I would like to.
Yeah.
I can't believe I haven't been out there yet, man. I
You
feel
should definitely
like
go on tour.
yeah,
Yeah.
you want to go on the tour. Jeez, man. Who else? Oh, we got Mutation Creation has popped into the chat. I think that's the first time having Billy up on the
Really?
stream. That's only our third stream, but
Yeah. Awesome.
I guess he doesn't have any questions for you. Come on, Billy, you don't have a question for Justin? Come on. Yeah, I know. Has Billy been to your place?
No, it's not the new place. He's
But
come down to Georgia and been to our previous facility though.
has he? Was there no video of that, or am
Yeah,
I just
and we've gotten to
missing?
go to his. So I think he was during a zone where I go through these zones where I don't make videos for a while. I think it was during one of those zones.
this impressive that you go through those zones and your channel still does well. And it doesn't always work that way with some channels. I guess that's kind of a testament to the quality of your content and how much people want to see your stuff, is you can take these breaks from your channel like you do from time to, like, maybe there's been two breaks in the last few years or so. And but you're able to come back into it.
Yeah, I think I've only ever gone one full year once, I think, without at least a few month break. I get burned out on it after a while. I don't know.
Yeah, it takes.
But the sad thing is I'm missing good content.
Because you still have stuff happening. It's not that you don't have anything happening over there that you could be filming. You just kind of get burned out because you make all your own videos. You do all your own.
After a while, I'm like, I just want to do it. I want to talk about it. I'm like, I'm kind of old school in the sense that, I mean, people assume that because I do videos that I want to be on video, but reality is that I'd rather be in the moment and just doing the eggs and not have to think about talking about them or trying to share it with the camera. That's not who I am naturally. So it takes a lot of thoughtfulness in order to think, okay, look, not just about us. You'll be able to see this too, and it takes a lot out of you after a while. And the editing every week, and I mean, you know about that.
Yeah,
not everybody's built up for it. It's a grind. And once a week, that shows you how I feel about it. Because that once a week to me is a grind, and people do it every day, and I can't imagine they've got another. I really respect it.
I do really enjoy making the videos. That's why I think I'm able to keep doing, because I'll put up, I think I put out like 5 videos a week in total, or sometimes more. That's ridiculous if you really think about it. But I have so much fun with it. The creative side of it is a lot of fun to do. And then, but to your point, like this last Tinley that ended up getting canceled, I was planning for the first time to not film at a show, because that, like you're saying, like I would love to just go to a show and not think about filming, just live in the moment, which I still do when I am filming at a show. I've gotten it down. I do it so much. I've kind of got to a place where I can do the filming and then still have time to enjoy things without filming. But that was going to be it. That last Tinley, I was going to go and not film at all. I was just going to go and enjoy the entire weekend without hitting record on the camera. And then it didn't happen. And I just kept recording every day after that. It's cool that you do your own edit. I remember for a little moment there when you were starting to have like when Chase really, like the first Batman video when he did the mask thing, and then there was some other cool stuff. It was like this old timey kind of feel music, like black and white film, and the little Office thing with the Office theme song in there. I thought in my head I thought that Chase was doing that, but then I came to learn that you are doing all the editing on the videos and doing all that creative stuff yourself.
I'm the computer nerd. I like to mess with stuff like that, and wish I had more time to. But I probably enjoy the editing best. It's just that it'll be some late night. I'm like, I gotta get this done before tomorrow morning. If it wasn't for that, I actually enjoy tinkering with it and the creative side and figuring it out.
That first video, that video of you 14 or 15 years old, did you edit that video?
No, I'm really lucky that it even exists, because here I was in high school. It's a little boarding high school, and that's my dorm room that video was taken in. And so there's a guy, I don't know, he's probably a freshman in college, and he came in and he's like, hey, I'm doing this. I was editing class, of course, with an actual, reel to reel camera, a VHS type camera. The guy was editing class, and, you guys have interesting little, animals in your room. So can I record this? Well, we were just lucky that he actually gave us a copy after his assignment was done. He gave me a copy. Otherwise, that would have been lost. And, I would have no record of that situation that we had there, because we had a lot of cool animals, and it's a neat. We act so nerdy, and so it's so funny, but it was not meant to be funny. Like we were trying to be serious.
You got some of the serious stuff.
They're all tongue in cheek.
Definitely towards the end.
It's all tongue in cheek, like they're they're being ironic about it, and like, no, we were pretty much just playing it straight. We were just that nerdy.
Well, your buddy that was in the video with you, was it Cullen? Was his last name Adam Cullen?
Yeah.
Or something? He
Adam, yeah.
That must have been it must have been the guy editing's voice in there. He said these guys have some big plans, and it goes like screen goes black, and then Adam comes in. He's like leaning back over things. He's like, today this, tomorrow the world, and he kind of made a good prediction there. It was today this and tomorrow. Yeah, it was prophetic. It was prophetic. Yeah, it was prophetic.
He's my best friend. He was my roommate then, and he's my best friend to this day. He lives in Oklahoma, um, and he's one of those guys where I hang out with him, and I can never stop smiling. He's just everything he does is funny to me. No one else would think so, but everything he does is hilarious. And so yeah, he's always cutting it up and everything. But yeah, it's kind of funny that he made that prediction then. Like at that, of course, I had no concept of ever making it a job at that point, but crazy how it turned out.
Yeah, it's great that you have it on film, man. It's a wonderful thing to
Yeah.
have that there, dude. It's totally cool. Well, shoot, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come on here. I know we're gonna jump on a Zoom call after this for a little bit too, but I think we're gonna wrap up here. Unless there's something you would like to say to people, not that you don't have your own platform to do so already, but if there's anything you'd like to say to anybody watching before we get out of here, any words of hope or joy or wisdom or you know what? There's one more thing. We talked about this last week, where there's this question that you get asked almost all the time on these things, and like the old, what would you do if you were starting over again today with like $10,000? And we were talking about how you're not necessarily the guy to answer that question because you're not in that, you're in a completely different zone now, and you might not necessarily have the best advice. You remember we were talking about that?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's a question I get a lot, and I get that via email a lot. Hey, I got X number of spend. What would you buy? Whatever. And like I was telling you before, I don't think I'm really cut out to answer that question because, first of all, I never had to make that choice personally. Because when I got in, there was only 3 morphs, no combos yet. I think maybe Bumblebee had almost been made or something, but it was easy. It was really easy to choose back then, and I've not had to ever actually put any kind of skin in that game for that question ever since. Ever since then, it's just been building and building, and as things change, the problems change, the problems I'm fixing, the problems I'm wrestling with. But it's never what do I invest in when I have $10,000, whatever like that.
Right.
And the other thing is that honestly, if you want to do well in this business and you have $10,000, the best thing you can do is do something that's inside your own brain, because what's inside my brain, I'm already doing to the nth degree the best I can, right? But it's what's inside your brain, the new person's brain, that might be the next big thing, right? That changes the game or whatever. When I got in, it was the mentality of the big breeders across the board was, we're just going to make as many of these high value snakes as we can, right? Whether it be pieds or lavenders or clowns. For the most part, it's like, hey, we got 2 clowns, and next year these clutch will be worth 150 grand, or we got 5 pied females where he's going to buy this pied male, and and the reality is that worked really, really well right up until it didn't. And it was the people, it's not like I had a necessarily original idea, but I came in with the idea of, I want to see what these morphs do together, and at the time I was a poor college student, and I didn't care about the money side of it. I didn't care if I was going to make 25,000 or 50,000 if I bred these 2 together. I want to breed these 2 together, lavender to a pied to make a dreamsicle. I want to do this to this, and clown to pied, whatever. That was more interesting to me as a young guy, and that ended up being the idea that over time won the day in our industry, until this point at least. And I can't say there's what the next change will be, what the next wave will be, or how to be different, but it's going to come from somebody who's new. It's not likely to come from my brain. My brain is completely stuck in the zone of, how do I scale a collection? How do I do this and do that? How do I leverage these morphs? And very different problems I'm working on every day. And I can speak to those a lot better than how to spend that initial seed money well.
And that's good advice. I mean, that's the advice you're always giving out there is, follow your own road and do your own thing. It's funny how many people there's a lot of people like, oh, this is what Justin, I want to make one of those too, which is cool. I mean, that's got to be good for your ego. And it's, it's nice to be making things that people that want, but your ultimate advice always is to find what you like and do what you like. That's what you did if you want. And it might be something completely, like you said, something way outside of what your current wheelhouse is and would be what it is. And you can't do that by following you and asking like, what would you do? Because it's ultimately what would that person do that's going to be different and bring something brand new and exciting. Yeah, perfect. That's
right. It's going to come somewhere, and I look forward to seeing what it is, what some new young upstart figures out. That we all of us old guys have to try to adjust to and figure out.
Totally, man.
Look forward to it.
Well, hey man, I'm gonna say good night to everybody here, but I'll see you on the Zoom call in just a few minutes here. But thank you again for spending the time with us, and I appreciate you as you are, my friend. Yeah. I really do. So I'll see you in a little bit, okay?
Enjoy it. Sounds great.
All right, folks. Well, I couldn't be more happy with how that went. I think these things. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm over here messing with all my controls because I'm hosting and then being the whatever it is over here. So thank you guys for all coming in and hanging out for the live stream. I really appreciate all you guys that are coming in here making this happen. I see so many friends in the chat. It's really cool that we're all able to come in here and take part in this. This is what I wanted. I wanted to just be able to come in here and hang out with friends and bring other friends on. And we're going to be having all kinds of cool guests coming forward in the future that either have lots of knowledge and experience in this industry and hobby to share with everybody. And also I want to start having on folks that maybe nobody's really heard of, or that have a very small platform that they're working to build, and bring some attention to some of the folks that I see that are coming up and are good people and are going to bring more and more to this hobby as well. So we're going to have a little balance of that as we go forward with this. As you know, that there is a short little flow coming up here in a second. It's something I think I'm going to do at the end of every stream. Here it comes. Okay, I had to write this one down, and I didn't memorize it. There wasn't enough time. I did it today, so if you guys just cut me a little slack, I'd appreciate it. Justin Kobylka, snakes as smooth as Silka, breather of his Ilka, taste of mama's milk, away we go to the Zoom call now. You can join us there too, and I'll tell you how. Just click the link in the description down below, and we'll see you for part of the show. Now next week's guest, yes, I'm feeling pretty blessed to have a person like this so close to my chest. I want to remind you, find a good time to turn up my habit, the time of the thin line of my spine, on my bladder, floss it across it, toss it, leave it behind. No easy way for me to explain, but here's a little clue. His wife's name is Jane. If that's not enough, I guess it's up in the air. You're watching Triple B TV. Y'all take care. I'm not a professional rapper or anything, man. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. A lot of fun. Thank you again, Justin, for coming on. You guys, thank you for participating. Love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I'll see you on the next one. But for now, bye.